Okay, so this video I want to talk about interesting text for from InkMag, and originally I'm not so big fan of InkMag, but they tell a story in the text about the problem in the tattoo industry with against tattoo people to do tattoos on people with darker skin tones and so on. And I think this is very interesting. I really recommend to read that script to explain that that is absolutely possible to tattoo different skin tones, like dark skin and brown skin and so on. And obviously, there's different version of brown, different version of dark, and it's just you just have to use different ways when you tattoo it. Obviously, with different colors, and you see so many pictures you can find, for example, on dark body art on Instagram. For example, you can find a beautiful tattoo picture of customers with dark skin tones have beautiful color tattoos and so on, and this kind of thing. So it's not a problem to tattoo people with dark skin. You just need to use the right color. For example, some colors will work better than other colors on people with dark skin. Obviously, what kind of undertone you have. If you have more like a red undertone, then you have maybe should have green, because red and green complement the colors. For example, like me, for example, the color do not work on my skin. Personally, on me, is example purple. Purple is a color that works very uh, problematic on my skin. When the example light purple, and that also is something you can also see before you do a tattoo, is with the contrast. For example, you take two pictures with 3 or 5 color you want for your tattoo or more, for example, and you take contrast to put them color together in the picture. Then you see, and you put your arm or your leg or your chest where you should have the tattoo, and then you can see there of the contrast how well will this color stand up compared to your skin, and this kind of thing. Then it's always when the tattoo heals. Sometimes the tattoo will be lighter in the when the heal, or darker when the ink heals on the skin, and this kind of thing. So just with tattoos, it's simple. You just have to go to professional tattoo artists, so know what they're doing, uh, and so know what color they should use in connection, like mix together. For example, what is best contrast, for example, a bad thing for me should be like this. For example, to have yellow and purple together is a bad choice for me, because yellow turned to like a peanut butter brown on my skin, and the purple, especially light purple, will almost disappear, like very very quickly disappear. Almost like you can still see the purple, but really really weak on my skin. It's not a strong color on my skin. But instead of, for example, yellow, we take away yellow, for example. Then we take red orange, and we take, for example, magenta instead of purple, and that will work much better on my skin and this kind of thing, because magenta is more red in magenta and blue, but you have little blue in magenta, so you get some few drops of blue, and you have much more red, and then you get magenta. So magenta, there is a reason why magenta works good on darker skin tone, because it's so much red. So color with red is very lots of the time recommended for people with darker skin tone to have red color. For red, I don't know, red is a very strong color, and it's stand up very long on the skin. For example, my second tattoo was with black and red. So I have, yeah. So I know the red work stay on the skin very long, many years. And this kind of thing. Then you also have recommended green. So the color, for example, so yeah. So you have this, and obviously every skin tone, every undertone is different for each people with brown or dark skin. It's not the overlay of the skin, but the undertone that the ink will mix with when they sink into the skin. So there is a reason, for example, when some tattoo artists recommend, for example, instead of blue, you use turquoise blue, because turquoise blue is more because green is also very many times recommended for dark brown skin tone. Because green and blue and yellow and white together is turquoise blue. So you have this kind of connection color that in some way works much better than just to have blue for some reason. There's many different reasons for why some colors work more recommended for people with dark skin tone than other colors. And it's maybe because of experience. Maybe lots of the tattoo artists, when they talk with each other, they maybe tell about their customers that have dark skin, and they tell lots of, maybe most of the time when they talk about that, they discuss the color maybe purple and yellow, and that the yellow was oftentimes do not work on dark skin tone. That can be one reason why yellow is not recommended. But when more time, for example, if you have for example, we have 10 person and we say 5 each, like 10 we have five person have green tattoos with different color green. The other one of the 5 have yellow tattoos, obviously with yellow color in their tattoos. Maybe it's more people with the yellow color that was miscolored, and the less with the color with the green works much better. Especially in my case, yellow was not a good color for me. This is my cat. Yeah. So that text on Ink Mag is really interesting to talk about the tattoo industry and the problem why it's not so many tattoo artists. Some tattoo artists do not put up people with darker skin tone on their social, on their commercial post, and so on, because some of the tattoo artists believe that their work do not show as well on people with darker skin tone, but they show much better on people with lighter skin tones. And this kind of thing. So this is what some believes, and that personally, obviously, I think is wrong. Because if you are a professional tattoo artist, it should not matter what kind of skin tone that your client have, because you should be able to show your skill, no matter if somebody is Snow White or pitch black or in the middle. It should not matter. If you know how to handle the ink needle, you know how to do with the contrast, the black lines, you know exactly what color you should use, it should not be a problem. Because that is the point to be a tattoo artist, to know for each customer to come into your studio, to know how to work with them, how to give them the best tattoo when they go when you go from your studio, when you have done a beautiful tattoo and this kind of thing. So that is the point. That I think it's so silly that still today we have that problem, that people think because you have different skin tone, your tattoo cannot be as vibrant as people with like Snow White skin, really white skin. And that is just, if, for example, if you give a person like me the color of, for example, very light pink, obviously that color will heal really bad on my skin because it's too light. But instead of that pink, you take red pink, and you get a totally different result. It's still pink, but it's a different version of pink. So you give me, for example, instead of blue, you give me turquoise blue. Turquoise blue is still blue, but mixed with other colors, it's blue. It's called turquoise blue. So when people say that color tattoos do not work on darker skin tones, you have to explain what color you talk about. You cannot say just color. It's many different colors so you have in ink. Some standalone colors, some colors are mixed together. For example, lots of color that is recommended for people with darker skin tones. Then when I say darker skin tone, I mean brown and so on, and black people with black skin. This kind of thing is, for example, green, yellow and blue, magenta, red and blue, red violet, red and blue, but more blue, but still more red than normal purple, and this kind of thing. So you have lots of the colors. Our colors are mixed with other colors together to get that color. But the only one that is standalone, something is very much recommended, is red. It's a based color, standalone color. So if you go to a tattoo artist, if the tattoo artist turn you down because of your skin tone, then that tattoo artist is not a good tattoo artist, because good tattoo artists should see what they can do to make that tattoo work on your skin. But obviously you cannot give the same color, same light color tattoo as you give to a person with very, very light skin, because it's different. You have to give the same category of color, but a different volume of that color. For example, like me, if you have, for example, turquoise blue, and you have light version of turquoise blue, obviously, for me personally, dark turquoise blue is much better on my skin, for it looks more clear on the skin compared to the lighter one, because when the lighter one heals, we're going to be much lighter of the skin, and that's going to be harder to see, especially in the summer when my skin is darker. And obviously to turn back again, my skin gets lighter again when it's winter, and so on. So obviously that is also the case. You have to understand, if you live in a country where it's almost all the time it's a strong sun outside, your skin often going to stay the same dark. But if you live in, like example, in a European country when it's more colder in some places, when you have like long winters, your skin going to be much lighter. So obviously you're going to have different. For example, I can try to do a video when I show my tattoo in comparison how the tattoo looks when it was in the winter, and how compared with my skin, and how my tattoo looks in comparison in the summer when the skin is darker, and so on, and this kind of thing. So it's not that just the skin, it's just how you put in the ink and how to mix the ink with the contrast with the color. If you have dark against light, for example, you have dark background and you have a white ball in back, also that will be much clearer because it's black background, and so on, for example. And like, so for example, I have like black tattoo. I have tattoos with like five colors. I have tattoo that is black and gray. That means white and black together, black and gray. So I have tried different version of with colors, only black, that's also color, and so on. So I try, and I have seen, because of this, I have seen two of the colors do not work as well. That was yellow and purple. The color works okay on me was green, red, orange, magenta, and turquoise blue. So 5 colors works, and so on. And so yeah, it's just to find the right tattoo artist that will do amazing work on you. It's not, as I said before, so if the tattoo artist turn you down because of your skin tone, you yeah, that tattoo artist is not a good tattoo artist, because yeah, is you should just know what contrast you should put into the skin, and when you make that tattoo for that client, it's not science. It's not spaceship building. You're not flying to Mars or Jupiter. It's just colors. You just have to know what color you should use, and that is that. That you should learn that in middle school. This kind of thing, when you paint with colors, like you have to use contrast. So that is just a old thing. That is, everybody can have different styles of tattoos, different style, different colors, and so on. Big, and so obviously there's more recommended for people with dark skin to have bigger tattoos, like bigger in size, than small, because of the contrast, the outlining, and this kind of thing. And there's lots of good videos on YouTube. For example, this one is called "How to Tattoo People with Darker Skin Tone." The other one is like a lesson video. There's a person explain how he. It's a very interesting video when he explains exactly how they put in different colors for the tattoo to be more push forward in the skin to look more. So you can do amazing thing for dark skin tone. And maybe this maybe controversial, but I think personally, some colors will look better on darker skin tones than people with light skin. And maybe this is very controversial to say, because this is obviously what people maybe used to hear, but because people with dark skin have more, it's more. I think you can have more beautiful color if you have darker skin tone. If you're light, for example, you can have yellow clothing, green, red, blue. It looks more. Yeah, it's some way better looking on people with darker skin with beautiful colors. Maybe this is controversial. I understand. Maybe if some be angry now when they see the video, I understand this. But you have to understand this, that because of history, people always have looked down in some ways, in different shape or form, on people with darker skin tone, and especially in the modeling industry, and this kind of thing. And tattoos belong to that in some sense, that because tattoo is so mainstream today around the world, that lots of time when you do like tattoo magazine, you show up a light skin model with lots of tattoos, or you show a light skinned man model. It's very few times on a model magazine or tattoo magazine you show a person with dark skin as a tattoo model. Lots of the time it's much more people with light skin you show, and that is just because of the systematic system in the world. It's not because of the tattoo industry. It's because people are more used to see people with light skin on the social media and this kind of thing, and so on. And so it's not that your skin is the problem when you get tattoos. It's just the tattoo artists do not know how to make it work for you. If you it's okay. Obviously, you have to listen to the tattoo artist in some sense. Sometimes tattoo artists say, if you do, example, you do a thing, like for example, you take a tattoo, you mix if you say that you have white and baby pink together as a tattoo, that will not work, because it's not contrast. It's light with light. That is mean no contrast. That will do not work. But if you have, for example, white and black, or some dark colors, and it's more darker than white, then it's gonna work better. But white is still a color that's not so much recommended, because when you mixing white with dark, it's gonna look like more like you. For example, you have milk and you mix like O'boy together. It's more like that combination in some sense. It's not really white because it goes under the skin and this kind of thing. And yeah, so it's not a problem. It's just to know what kind of contrast, what is your undertone, what is complementary color, and this kind of thing. Some will make it work much better and this kind of thing. So yeah, so that text on from InkMag is very interesting. It really explains interesting thing with in this the system of the tattoo industry that I think is an notion in the same time that like they have heard from somebody that there is a problem when they tattoo people with dark skin, that they listen to that and they tell the story again. Because if you have right now, because the tattooing ink today is different from the was like 20 years ago or so on. It's much better, stay much longer on the skin, comparable to old ink. Is because we have much better. It's more like with the experiment, like the chemicals is different. It's much more like a laboratorium. It's higher ranking. It's much higher systematic because of the rules, like more control. Because more people, when more people get tattoos, more control. What kind of ink is illegal to sell? What ink? They always control that before they send out to the stores. Before the tattoo artist can buy the ink to his store, they have to be controlled in the ruling system to explain. They have to look in the molecules, this kind of thing, what is in the ink, what is how will that ink in work on a person, how will that infect that person in some sense, like 20 or 30 years ahead, and so on. So you always every time you have to evolve your tattoo style and tattoo ink to make it stay longer. Because if you, for example, look at for example, if a person, for example, have a tattoo like all like when like a person that is maybe 80 years old right now, obviously his tattoos was not the same ink that you use today. It's a totally different version of ink. It may be the same color, but it's a different way how that color is produced, and this kind of thing. And so that is the thing. You see, so for example, if we say that you look at a person, for example, dark skin, and so have for example a color tattoo maybe 20 years, 22 years, and you look at the person with light skin, so have the same long hair with the color tattoos. It's not going to be a huge difference. It's just because of this old notion that people with light skin can, so they are, because they look better on them because of this system, but that is not true. It's just that if you show, obviously if you show more people with light skin, obviously people will believe that color tattoos works better on light skin. But if you show the same amounts of people with darker skin tone with color tattoos and tattoos, obviously more people will see in the end that it's not really huge differences. There's only what kind of, if you use the right colors and the right contrast, you can get amazing tattoos, no problem. It's just to find, okay, first find the right tattoo artist that's gonna work best for you. Then you just, no problem. It's just then you get beautiful tattoos. For example, I go to my tattoo artist, and every time when I come home from the studio, when I get my tattoos, I'm very happy because I know that my tattoos will work on my skin. It's just that I think it's some kind of fear mongering when you read something and you believe it, because they say it's often that people with people with dark skin tone and this kind of cannot have some color tattoos. Obviously that is true, that some colors works better than others and so on, as I said before, and this is absolutely true. But to say to be so simplified to say that color tattoos do not work on darker skin tone is wrong to say. It's really wrong because you don't give any explanation. You just say color, and if you say color, you can mean every color. It's a problem. You have to be more explain more in detail what color you mean when you say this color will not work on dark skin tone. Because do you mean red? Do you mean green? Do you mean blue? Do you mean yellow? Do you mean orange? What color do you mean? What version of yellow? What version of orange do you mean? For this different version, you have to understand. It's not just one color, one version of orange. It's many different versions of orange for each company. So sell tattoo inks, and each of the different companies makes their orange in a different way. They're not gonna make the same or exactly the same way orange that, for example, Tattoo Soon or Tattoo Ink Eternal make, because it's different company. Different companies will have buy in different version of that controlled color from they always control before they sell the into before you can buy this kind of ink and so on. And always when you go into the ink mag Ink Eternal site, they always say you have to tell what kind of company you work for, what kind of tattoo studio, because you cannot buy it as a private person because of the control. Because tattoo ink is, if you use it in the wrong way, can be very dangerous because you can get infection and this kind of thing and so on with the needles. So it's much more. It's a very strict control of the system. What color you can buy in, what color is not. Also, it's very, very. It's one thing I really want to say. Extremely important is that the reason why you should go to always to a tattoo artist in a studio is because they always they know how to handle the needle. They know it's a thing. If you just go to somebody at home and you just do the tattoo needle and you don't are careful, you can get huge infection that is life threatening and this kind of thing. So there is a reason why professional tattoo sites that sell ink do not sell to people like me and you that are not tattoo artists. That just people that get tattoos, that are that like to get tattoos, because we don't know how to handle in some sense the ink bottle. We don't know how to open it safely. We don't know so many things. You have to know exactly what kind of plastic gloves you should have on you. You have to open ink and all this kind of thing. It's not just like a color thing that you paint with. It's something you're gonna put into somebody's skin. It's a human. It's a living creature that's gonna get tattoos, like human body gonna get tattoo, and so on. And so that is very, very good that not normal people. Okay, yeah, sorry, that was wrong to say. But like people that not tattoo artists cannot buy there because it's like it's example like you buy medicine, but you just buy it right from the company that make the medicine, but you're not any doctor, you're not a pharmaceutical and this kind of thing, and so on. You're just a private person because you cannot, if you don't know what kind of chemicals, obviously it's chemicals in ink and so on, and obviously it's because of some ink is vegan friendly. That means that it's not tested on animals, and then is in some other ways tested in some ways, yeah, and so on. And so that is just this is that just just go to professional tattoo artists. They know what they do because they have, if the tattoo artist have worked many years as a tattoo artist, they know how to handle different customer. And if you're not can handle different customers because of the skin tone, maybe you should not be a tattoo artist, because the point is when you do work as a tattooist, you should be way able to do tattoos on everybody and this kind of thing, and so on. And yeah, so it's just strange that people still have that idea of this kind of thing, and is yeah, because I think this is I think lots of the time, personally, I can be very wrong right now, but I think that just because of the old time, that if you look at the inks we have today, if you tattoo a person with dark skin with some color tattoos, uh, obviously I think it's not gonna be a huge difference. I think that if you know exactly what contrast and this kind of, you're gonna get the same amount of detail as you get on a person with light skin. But it's because you see so few people with dark skin in tattoo when they show their customers or in tattoo magazine. Obviously, we see more people with light skin in tattoo magazine. Obviously, if you see more people with dark skin, you can see that you can obviously people can have tattoos with dark skin tone. This kind of thing. It's just that we see it more or less than we see people with light skin and so on. So that yeah. So yeah, it's just you just know go to the right tattoo artist, and they know how to fix to really give the right colors, and it's amazing. Tattoos are amazing when you when it's like yeah, it's an amazing thing to get tattoos, and for every person, individual think tattoos in different way. What they think is beautiful is in their own eye, and obviously because when you make something industrial or mainstream, obviously people gonna have this notion that they have to say something. For example, they say, and they show one kind of clients, but they don't show the other side of the clients because they think this side of the clients, for example, that it's very light skin people, very light, are more likely to show more clear their tattoos when they market this kind of thing, but they don't show as much people with darker skin tone, always opposite, like light and dark. And because you have to also see, first of all, when you go to tattoo artist, you get the tattoo, then you have to wait maybe 4 or 2 weeks, then the tattoo start to heal, and then you see how the tattoo will look, because some tattoos with ink will sometimes be gonna be lighter or darker, so you obviously have to see the contrast. But if you put two persons on to have a tattoo 50 year each, uh, I think we call it with the ink we use today. I don't think gonna be huge differences so long as they use the right contrast and this kind of thing, and to build up the right system, in the whole thing, and so on. Yeah, and this kind of thing. So really helping the system, help that thing. So yeah, everybody, as I said many times, can get tattoos, and yeah, so you just simple as I said always. Yeah, obviously, just is that is the more you show on social media, the more people will get tattoos. The more people see that, and if more tattoo artists are not just work from that stereotypical thing that is not really true, with darker skin tones, it's just that the it's obviously if everybody can see your tattoo. If you have a tattoo that is clear on the skin, if you have dark brown, white, or very white, is that it's just it's just yeah, everybody it's just that you just have to, the more people you, the more you have to walk out from that comfort zone and learn how to tattoo people with darker skin tone, and learn what kind of color, how will I use that color, and what kind of color should I not use, and with that contrast and the combination, uh, and so on. Yeah, yeah. So that is just this, and as I said before, go to InkMag and you can find the text there, and it's interesting, and I recommend it. That's everything I really want to say. Okay, bye.